Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, 1963, directed by Vittorio De Sica, starring Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni. This is a comedy, generally a comedy. There's three separate stories linked in with the three timelines, and the two lead actors, are in all three stories. The first one is Adelina. Adelini and her husband Carmen are in debt. The movie starts with some guy coming to repossess furniture that hasn't been paid for, and when he enters the property, Adelini's not there, but her husband is. He finds the rooms bare, with no evidence of any furniture to be reclaimed. We're in a very poor, run-down district in Rome, I guess. You can see the poverty littered all around. It's 1954. After the guys disappear, miraculously, furniture all reappears from all the friends who've anticipating this temporarily looked after the furniture. Adelini sells contraband cigarettes and had duty paid on them. English, American, Swiss cigarettes on the street. A lawyer tells the husband that the trouble won't go away and it will get worse, and that they've got to pay the fine, and this is passed on to Adelini on the street. Mind you, she's pregnant by a few months. Loren's terrific as she marches into the lawyer's office and screams at him about the excessive fine and the fact she's only selling cigarettes, and she's so theatrical in her protestations. And the lawyer then takes one look at her and sees that she's expecting, and said that she can't go to jail. Word spreads quickly within the community about the fact that she's going to avoid jail time because she's expecting. The whole community is sort of full of excitement and relief and happiness. Song breaks out amongst the kids as they march along the quayside, repeating over and over again, she's expecting, of course in Italian. Musical-like, when she walks through the town, there's a rejoice from all quarters at the fact that she has avoided going to prison. It's delivered very much like a musical. They get a fortune teller in to bless the bed for a pregnancy. We move on, and there appears now to be 6 children sleeping as Loren starts to look lustful. She steps onto the bed looking extremely exotic and taps the pillow and says "Carmen" to her husband, who looks completely shattered. It's amazing, that scene where they go to the doctor because she hasn't become pregnant because he's too exhausted, and the doctor interprets the fact that
She doesn't want to become pregnant, and it's because her husband is always after it. He's got it completely arse-about face. The doc confirms his blood pressure's low. He's shattered and he needs to be put in the stable. Maybe he should have a baby next year. Her husband's friend comes in, he's away, and her fear of that jail prompts her to suggest that he should make her pregnant now. But then she gets cold feet and starts pleading for come in. She takes the youngest to a sort of convent-style place full of women and young children, and we see her offering her breast for breastfeeding. The community rally round to get extra cash for a fine. We see examples of everyday transactions, but now there's an additional fine. Amusingly, it also includes prostitution, when a young sailor boy picks up her call girl and her friend reminds her of the tax. It's not a convent, it's a prison with nuns as the prison officers. It looks more like a holiday camp. Adelina is finally pardoned. There's a furore about it as she's collected at the prison gate. The second of the trio of vignettes is called simply Anna. Anna's an extremely rich woman, looked after, well kept, and she's got a toy Rolls Royce Silver Ghost that she rides around Rome with, and she's also got a lover, Renzo. He's got a squitty little Fiat, and they meet, and he jumps in the Rolls Royce. This is near the river. I'm not too familiar with Rome, but the setting for this second vignette is in the car. Saying she feels a little hot, she lifts the canopy on the Rolls Royce, so it's an open top now. As they breeze through the streets, look, we get a glimpse of the billboards. 1963, of course. Her husband's a senior government official with the EEC, Common Market as it was known then, and is away in Stuttgart. She fails to pull up quickly enough at two stop signs at traffic lights and hits the car in front in the rear. It's pure arrogant carelessness as she presents herself verbally. We get a feeling that this woman thinks that she's not really appreciative of the benefits that she's got. She describes her husband in rather unsavoury terms. A man obsessed with work, success, power. An addict, she describes it, and never having any time for her. Her driving continues to be the epitome of arrogance. She hits another car at a toll booth and just avoids a workman working on the road. They start to argue about the concept of value. Renzo, who has little and appreciates that Anna, who has everything and doesn't consider it of any significance. They stop by a man-made lake. Anna starts to get interested, starts to kiss Renzo, but there are some workmen nearby which disturbs her, and they move off again. watching this, I find it really interesting that, unlike most movies with lead stars, in this one, Loren is clearly the top bill, and Mastroianni is like the sort of supporting actor. It's very interesting how she's domineering in terms of your visual picture of the film and what's coming out in her character. It's like she's on offense and he's on defense. She starts to paint a picture of them going to a nice place, creating the atmosphere for a sort of romance, and he gets totally sucked in by listening to her monologue, and he nearly gets another worker who's on the side of the road. He loses control and hits a roadside vehicle. Anna gets infuriated at his lack of care for the vehicle and shows little interest in the fact that he avoided knocking down a person on the side of the road. Her true characteristics come out, and she also gets extremely critical of his perceived ignorance with regard to a car in difficulties. Renzo goes across the road wanting to completely give himself distance from Anna. She blows up again, and then she flags down another motorist and who assists in changing the wheel, but at the same time she and him berate the stupidity of what they perceive are Fiat drivers, who are perceived as rather stupid, lacking in knowledge of a great vehicle like the Rolls Royce, and it's very, very quickly apparent that this superiority complex that the rich have is coming out vividly. She decides to go back to her place with the man in the red sports car and then get a mechanic out to the vehicle, and expects Renzo to stand around and be there until they come. We're ready for Mara now, the third tale. Mara is neighbours with an elderly woman and her grandson who looks like he's part of the religious cloth. She creeps out of a shack with very little on other than a huge towel, and with two bouquets of flowers, and her eyes meet the young boy, the religious boy. It's Sunday morning and her client arrives, full of gusto and enthusiasm, dripping with lustful desire for Marta, of course it's Mastroianni. After Mastroianni, not sure of his name, departs for work, saying he'll come back in the evening, Mara starts talking to Umberto, who's, as I say, in the monastery, and asks him about his day, 5 hours meditation, prayer, 7 hours of study. She's showing quite an interest. They chat. It becomes quite evident that she's got a very comical style. She's easily adapts to this comedic style. The grandmother is clearly aware of Anna's profession and not keen on her grandson having anything to do with her. The condemnation from the grandma has got Mara in a real stew. She's riled up so much that when Mastrani returns, wanting to create that smoochy mood, she's not having any of it. She's too stoked up, bitching about the old woman and her moralistic judgments. Mastrani leaves. He's not getting enough attention. Mara is more interested in drafting a letter of complaint to the grandmother about her attitude, and he votes with his feet. In the piazza, courtyard, square, he thinks better of it and decides to go back to Mara and say sorry. It's morning time and he wants his oats, and she's reluctantly agreed, but it becomes a comedic sort of scene as distraction upon distraction delays. The grandma comes knocking. The grandson doesn't want to go back to the seminary. He's decided to ditch it all. She's at her wit's end. Seeks some sort of help from Mara. Mr. Rusconi, that's Mastriano, is also around. Mara's in a gift shop and she sees Umberto at the window, so they meet. She tells him that he needs to return to the seminary. She supports his grandmother. He was expecting a different comment and leaves. Loren makes a vow with the grandmother to go without sex with her for a week if the grandson goes back to the seminary. Loren in the shop cleverly sidetracks Umberto from previously being flattered by his thoughts for her as a possible catch, and now makes it quite clear that she's old enough to be his mother, just to dampen down that teenage zest. Mastriani slips into the role of being a general dog's body with extremely reluctance, and just catch the picture on his face. As Mara goes through her striptease routine, Mastriani responds with baying dog calls. Just as she's about to remove the last items of clothing, she remembers her vow, the quid pro quo with the boy returning to the seminary. No sex for a week. Mastrani is gobsmacked and distraught. Mastriani votes with his feet, retrieves his cash and walks. A phone call from his father and they sort of make up